2016, late 2016, around October. I'd come out of a 15-year pee addiction, and what happened was I had a light bulb moment. I was like in my cell, crying, looking up in the dark, called out to God, if you're real, help me. I felt this voice inside me, this spiritual awakening telling me to follow him and then you'll restore me. Didn't know what it was. The next day I came out of my jail cell, grabbed the Bible, went down to the card table, just opened it up and had a book that was just thought, I'm just going to write some scriptures down. And I opened it up into Proverbs and Psalms. And when I opened up Psalms, it took me straight to Psalm 23. The Lord is my shepherd. I was like, far out, that's exactly you and me. I'm a lost sheep. And that valley that I've been walking through for 15 years.
Testimony goes on and on and on. It's magnetic, it's prophetic, it's God's stories being told.
Welcome to the Jesus Magnet Podcast. I'm your host, Joel, and today we have Chris Nahi with us. How you doing, Chris?
I'm great, thank you, mate. Thank you for having me today.
Oh, well, thank you for letting us come to your amazing home and see what you do, what the Lord's been doing through your life. So, Chris, why don't you just give us a bit of a background on how you grew up and where you grew up. So we are in New Zealand, in Whangarei, above Auckland. So yeah, Chris, tell us, is this your hometown?
So I grew up in Auckland. This is my hometown. My mother and our homestead is up here in Whangarei. But originally I grew up in Auckland. I went to school in Auckland. I am one of 5 kids, solo mother. So I grew up in a fatherless home, and I now that I've been through this program that I run now, I can see that that's where my core issues of going down that wrong path came from. So coming from a fatherless home, that feeling of being abandoned, and that anger and stuff that I had inside me while I was growing up. I didn't know the Lord when I was growing up. I do have vague memories of my mother taken us to church down in Northcote. So we grew up on the North Shore in Auckland. And I do remember a few times that we did attend church there. But that was probably about it.
It didn't have any lasting effects. It was just something that you did as a family once or twice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe a handful of times.
Yeah. Okay, so what was it growing up with 5? Was it 5 siblings?
Yes. We had 4 in our home. My oldest brother, he was whāngai and grew up with our grandparents. Okay.
Wow. All right, so you grew up in the North Shore, Auckland, and what was it like? You're having a solo mum, of course, so obviously it would have been very hard on her, providing for you boys. How many brothers, sisters?
So I've got 2 brothers and 2 sisters. In our household, there was my one older brother and my 2 sisters. I'm the second youngest.
Oh, yeah. And, so obviously your family didn't, your mum knew the Lord, I suppose. Yeah?
Yeah, I believe that our uncles and aunties and my mum that grew up in the Ratana faith, but moved, when she moved to Auckland, sort of moved away from that as well.
Okay.
And she had some friends that used to go to a church, Christian church.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. So what you're doing here, this is reflective on your past, right? So do you want to explain a little bit about what you do in Whangarei, and then we're going to rewind.
Yep.
We're sort of going to go Star Wars style, we're going to do the future first and then go backwards.
Yeah. So currently I run a program in Whangarei. It's a 12-month live-in program called Victory House, a faith-based program, minimum of 12 months. We're also a working in activity program. And through that, what we're trying to do is we're trying to get our residents work ready, because it's one thing to do a program, but if you're just doing courses and counselling and you're not ready for work, how are you going to go back out into the world and get a job? So our work and activity side helps these guys get ready for work as well. I feel that what we're trying to do is they come into the program with part of a jigsaw puzzle, and we're trying to help them put that jigsaw puzzle together. They'll have some pieces that they'll already come in with, and then we'll help them put other pieces on there, whether it's through counselling courses, work, programs that they can attend through the DHB. And for me, the frame, his name's Jesus.
Come on.
Yeah.
Awesome. The frame of the puzzle.
Yeah, that's what keeps it all together.
That's so good.
Yeah, man.
And could you describe sort of some of the typical attendees of your 12-month course of Victory House before they come?
Yeah. So a lot of them, the guys that come to the program have come from dysfunctional families, upbringings. Some have come from gang affiliations, gang backgrounds, fatherless homes, a lot of drug abuse, emotional abuse, physical abuse, sexual abuse. We get them all.
And you've actually had one of our previous podcast episode guests, Dan Austin, has come through Victory House. Is that right?
Yeah, Dan came up and spent some time with us here in Whangarei.
Awesome. Well, shout out, Dan. Thank you for getting us connected. Yeah. All right, so tell us what your life was like, I suppose, after your high school years or throughout your high school years.
So I was angry child, high school, still angry.
Why were you angry?
Oh, no father. So I have a very strong memory of my mother contacting my father when I was 12 or 13. And I remember her trying to ask him about getting me a job. He was at a car sales yard or something like that. And he said there was nothing. And so from that sort of like the whole abandonment thing and anger came from there. Yeah.
Okay. Now, have you still got contact with your father now? Like
my heavenly Father.
Yeah, come on.
That's the one that's been there for me. So no, I've never met my biological father. I've handed that all over to the Lord.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I think that's huge, actually. You know what you just said there, and I don't want to graze over that lightly. But you said that you never knew your biological father, and that you've handed that over to the Lord. Yeah. Could you actually explain that to somebody who's listening who might not know what that means? They might not be a believer.
So when you hand stuff over to the Lord, what it does, it just lifts that burden. When you become a Christian and you know what you know, it just lifts everything off you. You don't have to worry about that, cast all your thoughts and your fears. Just pass it all over to the Lord.
Yeah, and it releases that burden from you. You're not carrying that. You're not carrying any unforgiveness around or anything like that, eh?
No.
That's awesome.
It's just the way it is.
That's so cool. I just wanted to really touch on that because it's one of the biggest things today. There's a famous quote that says, holding on to unforgiveness is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die.
Yes, mate.
And, I just think, that's awesome that God is the Bible says he's the father to the fatherless.
Amen.
And he's operated in your life perfectly with that.
Amen. Yeah.
Okay, so you're an angry young man.
Yep.
Tell me a little bit about those early days.
Getting in trouble, looking to the wrong people for guidance, like friends, fathers and stuff that were on the wrong path anyway. But I didn't know any better. Doing what teenagers do, cars, houses, stuff like that, just silly stuff. Yeah, that was my life for a while. Yeah.
Were you involved in the worldly material substances such as drugs, alcohol, anything like that?
Yep, whatever we could get our hands on when we were teenagers, whether it's alcohol, weed, smoking marijuana, just whatever came our way.
So in those teenage years, you obviously felt empty, did you?
Yeah.
And you're trying to fill it with these different things.
Yep.
Where did that lead your life in those early days? Did that create almost like a snowball effect of alcohol was great at the start, and then it wasn't enough? Weed was great at the start, then it wasn't enough, and that built onto something slightly stronger.
Yeah, it all led to criminal activities, whether you're always out trying to make money to support your habit, you know. As sad as it was, you'd even rob your own mate's house. I've had my house robbed, and, you know, a few hours later, the person we suspected turns up with weed. So,
wow.
Yeah, it's just ridiculous.
Wow. And your circle of friends and influence and all that, they're all in the same boat.
Yep, they're all in the same boat.
Yeah. And there was nobody that ever came across your path. I mean, you had those early days, handful of times you'd gone to church. But aside from that, did you have anybody come across your path that was like, hey, Chris, I'm a Christian. Would I be able to share a little bit about this?
Yeah, well, funny as it may seem, yep. So when I came back to New Zealand, a youth worker, his name is Pastor Mike Shaw, he's from Kaikohi. He contacted me, and he actually brought that memory back, because I remember growing up, we used to go to the Te Horahu camps and stuff. And I remember there was a couple of guys that would always pick us up as kids and take us to do stuff, to the beaches, to the camps. And it was him, so I've reconnected with him.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's cool. But, yeah, throughout those early days, did you have somebody, you had obviously him that was taking you on those early days, but what about in those later years? Did you have any Christians pop across your path? And when I say Christians, I mean like the true believers that come out and they make themselves known, they be that light that they're called to be.
Was this after I...
So before, we'll say like early 20s.
I had a few rugby league coaches that guided me, because I left New Zealand when I was 18, and I went to Australia to get away from my troubled life over here. And I went to Australia, to Alice Springs, playing rugby league there. And yeah, I had a few influences. Our coach was a cop in Alice Springs, and then our assistant coach, he was an ex North Sydney Bears player. So I had those guys in my life.
Okay. Wow. All right. So at which point then? I actually have no idea how old you are. How old are you?
I'm 49.
You're 49.
Last week.
Okay. And do you recall the time that Christ entered your life?
Yep.
How old were you?
42.
Okay. So you've got. We're only in your early 20s.
Yep.
So from 20s to 40s. What happened over that time frame? You're over in Australia, you're playing rugby league.
Yep.
What happened?
The world happened.
The world happened.
Yeah, so I was playing rugby league as a teenager, got picked up by an NRL club, the Gold Coast. I moved to the Gold Coast, played NRL there for 4 years, and 3 years in A grade, and had a half a year stint in reserve grade the first year. Then I was introduced to Class A drugs, ecstasy and cocaine, while I was playing footy. And then my career started going pear-shaped.
How quickly did that affect you in a negative way?
Oh, it only took about 16 months.
16 months. And then it was, you were, at which point? What did you look like after 16 months?
So I couldn't get a contract with another team. Our team folded. So I ended up going back to the local competition, and the love of money and all that attention, feeding your ego, I was missing it. And by now I had made connections to access drugs.
So those drugs, you mentioned grade A drugs. Is that a common thing in rugby league?
Yes.
It is?
Yeah. When I was playing, it was.
Man, I didn't know that. Do they use it to just party, or do they use it as performance enhancers?
Party.
Okay, yeah. Man, it sort of hurts my heart to hear that, really, because, and it makes sense, like you win a game, you want to go party, and especially if it's a big game, you might have won a championship or whatever it is, and it only takes one person to bring it in, and then everyone's on such a happy theme that they're all going to get pulled in. Is that right?
Yep, that's it.
Okay, so at which point then you're going into these Class A drugs, 16 months have gone past, and you're not able to play?
I'm still playing.
You're still playing?
Yeah.
Okay, and how is it affecting your day-to-day?
So when I stopped playing in the NRL, and then I moved to the local comp, and then I was there for maybe one season. Then I moved into the Queensland Cup, played 4 seasons there. I was what they call an addict that's using and working, while I was using and playing. And I was playing some really good football too. I feel now that I was actually playing football, playing league, and I was just playing angry at myself for getting myself into that comp, trying to play my way back in, but it was too late then. But I just kept on playing.
Hang on, you're angry at yourself?
Yeah.
And you say to get into that comp?
To get back in the NRL.
Oh, okay, right. Yeah, man. So tell me a little bit about, I guess, the journey from that point to Christ. How did that happen?
So around 2002, 2003, along came a drug called ice, maybe a bit earlier, but for me, that's when I started using ice. And then what happened was I was dealing ice, and sooner or later, the cops come knocking on my door. I get charged. I end up going to jail. And I was actually freaking out when I was going into jail. It's like, oh no, I'm going to be getting in fights and everything. But what happens is, if you're someone who's been on TV and you go into jail, it's like people are like, oh yeah, he's a famous fella. So they all start feeding your ego again. So by the time you get out of there, if you haven't rehabilitated yourself or you haven't got any right supports when you come out, all you've done is you've just made new contacts in there. So when you get out, you've got all these guys that can get you different drugs. So when I got out, now it was really time to start dealing.
The whole jail thing didn't do its job of rehabilitating. It did the opposite. Yeah,
it's a breeding ground for gangsters and drug addicts.
Wow.
Yeah.
And how long, can I ask how long you were in jail for?
That time I was just over 18 months of my 3.5-year sentence. And then the following 4 or 5 years, I was just in and out of jail constantly. 3 months here, 5 months there. Yeah.
Wow.
Going around the mountain, we call it.
And I suppose that natural fear of the police and all of that, does that fade, I suppose, going in and out of jail?
No, it increases.
It increases?
Yeah. Your paranoia is just...
True.
Yeah, over the Richter.
Yeah, because you obviously never wanted to go back into jail.
No.
Each time it was like, oh, dang it.
Yeah.
But at least you knew what was happening. Did you go back to the same jail?
No, I went to a couple of different ones. Yeah.
Okay.
It was mainly returned to jails for dirty urine tests when you get drug tested and stuff like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. And I mean, I've heard a couple of stories where people go to jail and they actually find God sometimes. That wasn't something that happened to you?
That's what happened to me.
That's what happened to you.
Yeah,
Come on.
I'm
all right.
to get to that part.
Well, let's hear it.
Yeah. So I was going in and out of jail. I was married over there, had a house, a tree lopping business and stuff like that, slowly losing it all, lost it all, ended up homeless So I was living on the streets, couch surfing, burning bridges everywhere I went, in and out of jail. And then in 2016, late 2016, around October, I've come out of a 15-year pee addiction, and what happened was I had a light bulb moment. I was like in my cell, crying, looking up in the dark, called out to God, if you're real, help me. And then I felt this voice inside me, this spiritual awakening telling me to follow him and then he'll restore me. Didn't know what it was. The next day I came out of my jail cell, grabbed the Bible, went down to the card table and just opened it up and had a book that was sort of, I'm just going to write some scriptures down. And I opened it up into Proverbs and Psalms. And when I opened up Psalms, it took me straight to Psalm 23. The Lord is my shepherd. It was like, far out, that's exactly you and me. I'm a lost sheep. And that valley that I've been walking through it for 15 years. You know. And then, it was a spiritual awakening that it was like the Lord had taken away my addictions, just ripped it out of me, like
just that.
Yeah, just like that. I got released about a month later. Actually, when I was coming out of myself, because I started coming out every morning, grab the word of the day and my Bible, and I'd read the word of the day out, and there'd be guys over there that would move closer to our table, listen, what's this fella on about? But I didn't care, and then someone even said to me, goes, you a Christian, bro? I didn't even know what he was on about. I was just like, yeah, bro, I'm a Christian.
Come on.
I just kept on reading, and then a month later I got released from the Southport courthouse. I walked for about 2.5 hours to a mate's place, and when I got there they were smoking, pee, drinking and stuff like that, and offered me some, and I was like, nah man, I'm all good. Later on my mate said to me, man, he goes, I never ever seen you turn it down. I used to get people offering it to me to get rid of me.
How did you feel in that moment? Did you actually feel a draw to it, or you actually felt set free from it?
Yeah, set free.
Wow.
I just didn't even...
Did that stump you for a second? Did you go, you said no, obviously, but did you think, hang on, who's saying no? That doesn't even say... Who is this guy that's in my pants? You know?
It just didn't interest me. It was like, nah, something happened to me in that jail cell.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So in a moment, you had all your addictions just pulled off you.
Yeah.
And you went through no withdrawals?
I'd been in July, August, September, October. I'd been there for 3 months, so I just landed on my feet, and then I had that encounter.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I was done with it.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And then after that, I said, oh man, I just want to have a shower because I've been walking for ages. I went upstairs, had a shower, and I said, oh man, can I crash out? So I went and had lay down in the spare room, and I was asleep. And in about 2 a.m, I woke up. My mate tells me later on, he goes, that's what he said to me. I woke up, but in my dream, I had a dream of my Bible, and it was open like this, the prison Bible, and on one side it had words, and on the other side it had words, and this voice was saying really loudly, these are the things to stay away from. And on one side it says drugs and alcohol, and on the other page it said sexual moralities. These are the things to stay away from. These, and it kept repeating, and then I woke up and I went downstairs. My mate said later on, he goes, bro, you came downstairs and your eyes were beaming. And I sat on the lounge and I said, bro, I know what I need to do, because my brother, he's the lead pastor, senior pastor, him and his wife, Dave and Louise, of Vibe Church on the Gold Coast, and they had opened up a program called Victory House. And I said to my mate, I don't know where I got this time from. I think I was just trying to be respectful, because I said, man, at 6 o'clock I need to ring my brother. I need to put myself in his rehab. They moved from the lounge into the garage while I sat there and just watched TV, waiting from 2 o'clock till 6 o'clock to ring my brother to go into rehab.
Wow.
And then, that's where I wanted to go into rehab because I wanted to surround myself with people that are on the same journey. I knew I couldn't stay out in the world, so
that's a good question.
These guys.
Yeah, why after being set free from drugs and alcohol, you would go into rehab, and it was to make yourself accountable.
Yeah.
And go, actually, yeah, God set me free from this. Now it's time to get discipled.
Yeah, because I knew it was a Christian faith-based program. It's like, I can get there, learn about this fellow Jesus I'm hearing in my head.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
and be around those people. Accountability was big in that program, so that was what I needed.
I love that. I love that. And so this Victory House that you went, what is one of the biggest things out of Victory House that you've gone, wow, I really needed that? Like something that maybe that you would be able to share, because I know it's a 12-month course, right?
Yeah.
Probably can't share 12 months in an hour podcast, but tell me what's something that you can take away from it and share with somebody that might be struggling with addiction now in that course.
Yeah. The big thing that stood out for me, and it's something that I struggled with as well, is the whole accountability system. It was like, what's going on here? There's quite a few things. And there's another thing, the groups, like some of the groups they have, learning how to be assertive when communicating with people instead of being abusive. They're doing these groups, and I'm like looking at them thinking, why are they talking like that? It's the I feel model, not the you are model, because when you have an argument with someone, usually people go, oh, you're this, you're that. Well, in this group, it's done differently. It's letting the person know how you feel.
Oh,
so
true.
I call it the I feel model.
Yeah.
So that really stood out for me. The accountability is another thing that really was hard to get my head around.
So what does that look like, the accountability?
So you're held accountable for everything you say and do in that program, because with addictions come behaviours, and if you spend time in, say for example, for me, I spent time in jail. If you spend a long period of time in jail and you get out, you might be clean, but if you haven't dealt with those behaviours and those issues deep down, you're just what they call it a dry drunk. And it's just inevitable. When something goes pear-shaped for you, you're just going to go back to what you know. But if you get the tools that can help you to interact with other people and handle different situations, then you're on the right path.
Oh, true. I mean, that makes sense, and one of the things that the Bible teaches is the new nature that you take on. Yeah. And it's almost like, it says that we were bound or slaves to our sinful nature. So when you're thinking, you're going to go into the things of the world, that's like you said, you're going to go to it because that's what you know. Yeah, you're not even putting two thoughts into it. It's a instinct, if you want to put it that way, and like a reflex almost, because that's your nature, and that's the nature that we're born into. And then with Christ, it says you put on the new nature. You are a new creation, and all of a sudden, when you were offered. Sorry, was it drugs? Yeah. And you said, nah, I'm good. Yeah. There's this choice, and you still have the choice to, Jesus says, choose life. Yeah. Not death. So you had this choice. You could choose that, or you could choose Jesus. And I love how you just went, no. That huge moment, no. And it was like, all of a sudden, like you're going down this road to death, and it's just that one moment. All right, you've actually got, because God still gives us a choice, even after revealing himself. Yeah. There's still the choice after that. Yeah. And I just love that, how you said no. And then not only that, you go on the next step and going, all right, I might know that God loves me. I know that God's real and he's given me the ability to choose. Now I need wisdom in this. I need accountability, counseling, and
spiritual guidance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, come on. So you did the full 12 months with your brother?
Yeah. So what happened was I got into stage 3 of the program, and I was coming up to just about going into stage 4.
How many stages are there?
4 stages.
Okay.
And this is how God works in my life. So I'm coming up to stage 4. I go away down to the Hillsong conference. While I'm down there, we get a phone call that immigration have been to the house to look for me. The old me would have done the runner again, but the new me, the new thinking is, well, if God is for me, who and what can be against me? So I go back up to the Gold Coast, and we present myself to immigration office in Brisbane. I get locked up, and I get put in an immigration centre next to the airport. I'm there for 3 weeks, and then I get shipped off to Yonga Hill, which is in the desert in WA, and I'm still positive. I'm like, I get there.
What is Yonga Hill? Is that
It's an immigration centre.
Okay.
For where they place people that are looking at getting deported.
So they're thinking of throwing you back to New Zealand or not? Yeah.
And a lot of people get in there, they're like, I haven't even done any charges, and I haven't broken any laws, and I'm locked up here. Me, I'm the opposite. I'll own my behaviours. Yeah, I've broken the law. Yeah, I've done this. I've done that. Yeah, I probably do deserve to be here. But you know what? God's put me here for a reason, and I'm going to find out what it is. So when I got to Yonga Hill, I started looking around for the Christian brothers, and I found this group of them, all different nations, and that they meet for Bible studies and have a service on Sundays. So I started attending that. While we're there, one of the South African brothers that leads it, he was doing his last sermon. He says, "Yeah, I'm going back this week. The Lord put it on my heart to share." It's like that voice was telling me, "Get up and share, get up and share. Tell them about salvation, tell them about forgiveness." So I said, "Yeah, I'll share next week." And then I got a hold of my brother. I said, "I'm going to share about my salvation and the forgiveness that I have now. Can you send me the notes for an altar call, because I haven't seen them do one here, and I know my brother they do them every week."
Yeah.
So he brought me, sent me some notes in that. I shared, and then I did an altar call, and there was 15 guys there, and 12 of them put their hand up, and
You're
some
kidding.
of them were new. Yeah, so that was awesome. Kept me going.
Just that obedience, eh?
Yeah.
So you felt a calling or a pull or a voice. What was it that told you to do that?
That voice, his voice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how do you hear God's voice? Because everyone hears it a little bit differently.
For me, I feel it inside me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like a pull?
Yeah. It's hard to explain. I can just feel it.
Yeah.
If I'm doing something wrong, I can feel it telling me, pulling me up, or I'll even get a flashback of my old life.
Oh, true. Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. I've heard a couple of different people say it in different ways, and one guy said that he knows it's God when it's kind of like shooting hoops, and the moment you're throwing it, it's going in or not, and it's kind of like that. You're like, you don't even have to see it. Yeah. If you're doing it right or wrong, or if God's in it or God's not in it. Yeah. It's just that feeling. And the more you operate in that feeling, the more swishes you get. Yeah. And you start to recognize it. That's really cool, man. I think that's so cool. Are you still in contact with those guys that you led to salvation?
Some of them on my Facebook page. So
that's so cool.
Yeah.
That is so cool, man. Yeah, man. All right, so you're in this immigration
centre.
I think you're the first person I've ever met that's been in one of those. I didn't even know they existed until right now. Okay, so what happened after that? You're walking with Christ. You're learning how to obey the voice of God. You've had a good 3/4 of a year of discipleship with your brother's Victory House training. What ended up happening? Did you end up getting deported? Or?
Yeah. So I ended up getting deported on October the 17th, 2017, and I came back to New Zealand. I was in contact with a good friend of mine, Owen Paulmana. We used to knock around together in the Gold Coast. He had a radical encounter too. And he's over here. He's working with the homeless, doing street ministry, evangelism and stuff like that. So I fly back here. When I arrived, I was given $150, and I had a bag full of clothes that pretty much weren't even mine. And I was dropped in a motel near the airport. Contacted my friend Owen, and then he came pick me up and showed me around for a bit. And then we went on a 7-week hikoi all over, down the east coast, down the west coast, speaking in churches, women's refuges, rehabs, youth groups, and just sharing what God had and Jesus had pulled us out of.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you're legit just walking around sharing your testimony.
Yeah.
That's epic. I love that because that's exactly what our podcast is. It's all about people's testimonies, and everyone's got a powerful one.
Yeah.
I love the conviction there to go share what I've done in your life.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It was all new to me when no one's hitting me up about it. I'm going, yeah, bro, tell them about where you were, tell them what's happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then, after I did it for a little bit, that's when I realised, testimonies are really powerful. Like, everyone's got a story, you know.
It's true.
Everyone's got a story.
Everyone's got a story. It's a true experience. You're a witness of what God's done, you know, through feeling, through thought, through action. And you've seen God move. I mean, you witnessed. I mean, I said this a couple of times when we've had a few different people addicted to drugs, and God takes it from them. I've had this so many times now, and it's weird because I get a headache and withdrawals from not having my coffee. I don't even know if I could compare it to meth or any of the other A grade drugs. So what made you want to start Victory House in New Zealand?
Yep. So I was going on Hikois with Owen, and then I came back to Auckland to stay with my sister for a little bit, and then I came up north here to go and see my brother. And I was just praying into it, and I was just wondering where the Lord was taking me. What's the next plan? What's my purpose or my assignment? Owen was talking to me about joining him on doing street ministry and stuff like that. And then others were saying to me, you're on fire for the Lord, maybe you should go to Bible college. I'm illiterate. I have to read things 3 times, 4 times for it to register. That's why praise the Lord, there's the auto Bible that I can actually follow while I'm trying to read it as well.
Yeah.
So, I find it really hard to learn stuff, but I see a lot of damage that P is doing up here. And then I just had that voice again saying, open a rehab. And so I contacted my brother and I said, I want to open a Victory House here. Can you help me out? And they were really supportive and said, we'll give it a go because you've done the program. Even though I only went to right to the end of stage 3, it's up to those that run the program whether or not you've graduated. And for those that were running the program in Australia, I felt that I'd graduated enough, I'd done enough to graduate, so I am a graduate of that program. And I was told, my brother said, go for it. You've been in the program, you know how the program runs. It'll go really well there. And then that started another journey, and I've had support from churches all over New Zealand. I just put it out there. I'm trying to get a house. I'm trying to get furniture. I've got a list of furniture, and one church from down Christchurch or something paid for this whole list on stuff. So it's been really good that everyone's shown support. At the same time, trying to actually find a suitable house for the program was a bit of a hurdle as well, because people's perception of people in recovery or trying to rehabilitate themselves isn't very good. I was meeting with real estate homeowners and stuff, and I even got the question, the comment that we're just worried about people cooking meth in our house. And I'm thinking, man, so far from the truth. But I just keep on moving forward, and I knew that when the time's right, the Lord will open that door. I even got to the point where I'd have to drive half an hour, 40 minutes to go and look at houses. And because we live so far from town, and I was only on a student benefit at the time, I'd go to church in the afternoon. I didn't have enough petrol to get out home and then to check the house the next day, so I'd sleep in the car down at the information centre because I knew that the Lord was in this. I knew he was going to open the door, and then we got onto some Christian owners of the first house that we had, and then we got onto some owners here that are in the faith as well. And they know the mission. They know what Jesus was trying to do, and these guys are the ones that Jesus was looking for,
Yeah, absolutely. I was leaving the 99 to go find the one, eh?
Yeah, mate.
So what was one of the biggest challenges of starting Victory House? I mean, obviously finding the house was tough and all that, but yeah, what was the biggest challenge?
One of the biggest challenges is trying to work with probation, because we're a faith-based program, and our holistic approach is different from their approach. We don't really see eye to eye, and I'm finding it hard to get residents into the program.
Okay, and that's just because the probation officers, like their checklist for releasing somebody into your custody almost is different.
Yeah, but what I do is I make sure that everything that they need in their recovery or their rehabilitation is ticked off on that list. Like clinicians, I go and source service providers like the DHB, Salvation Army. We even do a one-day course with Odyssey House. So I make sure that all our guys get everything that they need.
Do they not see the fruit of the people going through the program on their what they were like and now what they are like?
This program isn't easy. I'll say that now. It's not an easy program. Change isn't easy. If change was easy, everyone would be doing it. Good programs aren't easy. And we have an accountability system in this program, and we have rules. Like, we got a lot of rules in this house. People may criticize our rules, but the thing is, a lot of our rules were put in place by our residents. These are residents, addicts, guys with behaviour issues that found that these rules need to be on there, because these are the areas that I need to touch up on as well.
What are some of the rules, if you could give me an example?
Rules like being provocative, manipulation, disrespecting leadership, disrespecting volunteers. There's even some other lower ones, like if you get in a house full of guys and everyone's walking around dropping their guts, it can be quite disturbing. So even walking around the house, dropping your guts around all the guys is a rule that you can't break, and there's consequences.
So that's a New Zealand term for farting.
New Zealand term for farting. Yeah,
just for anybody not sure what that means. Yeah.
But there's all kinds of rules. Rules for leaving stuff lying around. Like if you go in the kitchen and you're leaving a mess on the bench and stuff, well, are you expecting someone else to clean it up? The way you walk into a room is the way you need to leave it when you walk out. We set the bar nice and high so that when these guys go back out in the world, they can lower that bar and their standards are still there. Not only is it a rehabilitation program, but we're also a discipleship. Our guys go to church services and do Bible studies every day. It's also a self-care program where the guys have to shower once a day, change their sheets once a week. They put on a roster to do dishes, cook, chores are done 3 times a week as well. And it's also a leadership program as well. So when you move into the higher stages, there's an expectation that you need to know how to manaki the new guys or help the new guys and guide them through that process as well. Because programs are only good as those that lead them. And that goes for the residents as well. You're only going to move forward as well as the one in front of you.
That's so good. Man, I love that. So here's a good question, though. You have had this radical transformation of God taking these addictions from you. So some people wouldn't have had an encounter like that might come through Victory House and different people that you talk to.
Yep.
If they haven't had if they haven't had an encounter that takes away their addictions and they still struggle with them, how do you help those people that are still tempted and don't understand how you got free?
Yep. The best way I can explain it would be to say to them, you've got nothing to lose in trying this out and everything to gain. If you're a non-believer like I was 7 years ago, I'm 6 years clean, just over 6 years. If you were a non-believer like I was 7 years ago, it's like this: take your eyes and put it on Jesus for 12 months and you watch the doors that open in your life in all areas.
That's awesome.
Yep.
That's so cool. So you've been doing Victory House now for how long?
3.5 years.
3.5 years. And, you know, it's you would have had people come in and out, I suppose. You said there's a minimum of 12 months.
Yes.
Have you had people stay for longer?
Yes. Our last resident to graduate this program took him 18 months.
Awesome. And it's cool that you allow them to stay longer, you know. It's not like if you're not fixed, you know, in 12 months, then, well, too bad, you're too tough, you know, you're too set in your ways. I love how you got that amount of grace that says, you know, this is a 12-month program, but we will be with you and do whatever it takes to help.
Yeah. So this is a minimum 12-month program, and we say a minimum 12 months because there's no moving through this program unless we're seeing the necessary changes. So if you're in the earlier stages and you cannot sit with stuff that's been brought to you, or you're not able to be kept accountable, hold others accountable, then how can we move you forward to display the right behaviour for those that are coming up behind you? We're not a tick box program, and from our graduates, our success rate from those that have graduated this program is 100%. None of them are back in the system, or you know, they're all on the right path.
That is so good.
Yeah,
I love to hear that. So, where is God taking you now?
God taking me now. Well, at the moment, God is taking me on a bit of a journey because of recent residents that haven't been able to complete this program. So what happens is I'm going through a bit of a trial and tribulation with the program and previous residents that have left disgruntled. But I believe that God, everything that happens in my life is a test from God, whether it's a good thing or a bad thing, whether it works in my favour or not. Maybe it's not in God's time. I just think He's just taking me on a journey of perseverance to just keep moving forward, focus on these guys, and it doesn't matter how many guys I have in this program. If there's one to work with. You know, if there's 6 or 7, there's 6 or 7 to work with. But I'll just keep on working with those that are put in my path. I believe that I was digging a hole for 15 years, and Jesus put His hand down, told me to put that shovel down and climb out. And from that, I believe that He didn't bring me back to New Zealand to go back to scaffolding, to sit on the couch and turn up to church on Sundays. We're all called for a purpose or an assignment, and for me it's to minister to people and show them that Jesus is the answer. Yeah.
Come on. That's so good. Do you have some advice for somebody that might have addiction issues or anger issues or issues just in general, just problems in life? As life throws a lot of punches, you know, life's hard, life's tough. Somebody that feels like they're hitting rock bottom, and they're listening to this podcast and they're going, you know, Victory House isn't anywhere in my country. It's not anywhere near me. I do want to get on the right track. What is my first step?
I would suggest that you reach out for help. A good place to do that, if you can, is jump on the internet, punch in what you're struggling with, and there's got to be a counsellor, a program, a service, something out there. There's a lot of programs out there, you know. One shoe doesn't fit every foot, so you just got to keep searching, find that program that works for you. If you know yourself and your environment, that you know, because you can't get well in the environment that's making you sick. Sometimes you've got to remove yourself from it. But it's the best thing for you and your family, whether you're a man or a woman. Reach out.
That's so good. Did you want to share any final thoughts or stories that has happened throughout your amazing life, you know, getting set free from drugs and alcohol?
I'm quite content, actually. For those that are stuck in that place as well, you know, like you might think you've got everything, and when really deep down you're not even happy. I'm happier now that I've got very little than when I was rolling around in flash cars and all the rest of that stuff. It's not real.
That's so true.
Yeah. My life has been a crisis without Christ in it, you know.
That's good.
I was working for the devil when I thought I was doing the right thing. At the end of the day, addiction is a lonely place. Anyone that says that they love it and they like it in that, ask them that when they've got nothing left. They've got no drugs or no one's around. When you're on your own and you're crying and stuff like that, that's what addiction's about. It's not about when you're with your mates. It's when you're on your own with nothing.
Yeah.
You just got to reach out.
That's so good. Man, Chris, I just want to take my hat off to you, you know, before we sign off. You're an incredible guy, and I just love how you've been given this life. These are the things that's happened to you, and you've turned almost everything that has been a weapon against you for a weapon for you. You know, you've switched everything, and that these trials and everything, you know, even if you'd got on the right track and, I don't know, let's say you went and got a good job and had a family and all that sort of stuff and went to church, like you said, and God's flipped that, you've actually gone to the next level. You've gone like, these are the things that I've struggled with in my life. I've been to prison. I have struggled with drugs and all of these different things. Now what I'm doing is I'm that fireman going into the burning building and finding other people that are struggling in those areas, and I'm pulling them out. And you're willing to put yourself out there in an uncomfortable position, because these are, you know, these are people that need God, you know, and it's not that they need them any more than anybody else, but they're people that I think if I went up to some of these guys, I'd probably get a punch in the face if I were to talk about Christ. But you can relate. You've given this amazing gift of being able to relate, and you're walking in that gift, and almost that God has said, look, you've gone through hell and back, so you can find other people who's going to hell and bring them back.
Yeah.
And it's just so cool, you know, like, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for being obedient to Christ. Thank you for just walking the walk.
Yeah. God keeps on blessing as well. So if you believe, you receive. And I do have a family as well that's over here cheering me on as well.
Come on.
So the Lord crossed paths with my wife, and between us we have a blended family of 9.
Of 9?
Yeah.
That is
My
so
2,
cool.
her 7. So,
that is awesome.
Yeah, no, it's going really well.
It's a big Christmas, man.
Yeah, we have some big Christmases as well.
Big Christmas. I love it. Awesome. Well, thank you for joining us on the Jesus Magnet podcast. Man, thank you. You're an incredible man, and I know that this is going to be a blessing for anybody that's listening.
Thanks, mate.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Jesus Magnet podcast. If you enjoyed this, make sure that you connect with us. Find us on Facebook, on Instagram, and if you want to support us, be a member of our coffee club, Jesus Magnet Coffee Club. See you next time on the Jesus Magnet.